Let's listen.
The Beat tonight. Now with us in the Beat Studios this evening, we have some good friends of mine in a Motor City rock and roll band, The Look. And welcome to the Beat tonight, guys. We have Johnny and Sam and Dave and Rick and Randy. And Merry Christmas to you guys. Thanks for taking some time out to be with us tonight. Now, I got to congratulate you on your second LP, the Look Again album. Go ahead, hold up the album, Johnny. And this is your second album now on your own label that you record on, right? The Plastic record label? And that's distributed?
In the United States by Quality RFC. They're based in Toronto and New York.
Now, you're all from Detroit, right? What were some of your influences, Dave, that got you into the rock and roll business?
Motown, early Beatles, just the British invasion.
And you'll be with us now, New Year's Eve, as a matter of fact, for a big New Year's Eve bash that we're going to be throwing out at the Rooster Tail.
Right, the Rooster Tail.
And we're looking forward to rocking with The Look for sure. We want to thank you guys for stopping by the Beat, okay? And now, we're going to rock. How about you? Merry Christmas!
Welcome back to Man on the Street, everyone. We now have a new show sponsor here on Man on the Street. It's Showtime Detroit. Check them out at their new location on Joseph Campo in Hamtramck. I've been going and visiting Dan, the owner there, for years. I just visited him a couple weeks ago. He hooked me up with this beautiful rock and roll shirt. Showtime Detroit. Dan's been dressing Detroit bands and entertainers since 1989. Today on the Man on the Street show, I am talking with an amazing rock soul singer and guitar player. He's been a vital part of the Detroit music scene for over 35 years. He's very well known for his time in the 1980s with his band, The Look. It's Mr. Dave Edwards. Dave, thank you for joining me today on Man on the Street. How are you?
Hey, Jamie, I think I've made it now that I'm on your show.
Dave, I want to talk about you growing up. It seemed like you were destined to be a musician. I mean, you got your first guitar at 11 years old, and then, of course, your mother was a piano teacher. She played at the church. She taught you piano. That was the first place that you sang publicly. Your father was a drummer, played in your uncle's band. It just seems like, and of course you have the skill set big time, but it just seems like you were destined for music.
Yeah, it does seem like I was meant to be in music. When I was a little kid, I used to watch my mom play piano, and I'd see my dad tap on the drums a little bit, and yeah, that inspired me. But the real inspiration was going on stage at 5 years old in grade school in a school play, and I heard the applause, and I was addicted. I kept on, it kept me going, the applause. That's what keeps me going.
Your first band in junior high, you guys were inspired by the 60s band Paul Revere and the Raiders, and you had the triangle cornered hats. You called yourself George Washington and the Delawares. I love that. And you guys would play at sock hops, school dances, house parties, whatever it was. What is your memories of that time? Were you playing covers? What were you playing? And just what were your overall memories of that time?
Yeah, George Washington and the Delawares, we were inspired by Paul Revere and the Raiders. And we played at a party on my street. Now, we each made $10. And I was thinking, wow, you can make money doing this, really? Singing, So that was a fun time. Grade school was fun. We played all the sock hops, the Valentine's Day dances and all that stuff. Yeah, it was a fun time.
As your music career continued, in high school you were in a band, Circular Movement, and then around 1972 you hooked up with Randy Volan, who would later be in The Look with you, and you were in Airtight, a band called Airtight. Tell me about both of those bands, and was that really where you started realizing, hey, I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life?
Well, when I was in the Circular Movement, prior to getting into Airtight, my friend Tom and Ted Anderson had a concert at Rolladium, where you roller skate and stuff like that, and they had this legendary band, SRC. I became friends with Gary Quackenbush later on, but that was my first experience with opening acts. SRC was a legendary band at the time. And right after that, I met Randy, and we got into a band called Airtight. Played around. I think one of the first gigs I did with him was at Cranbrook Institute. Everybody knows about Cranbrook. then we started writing songs, and then I got an offer from a bigger band. They were called White Heat at the time, or the Unknowns. I knew them from high school, and then I joined this band called Tantrum, and that's when I opened for Bob Seger a couple times. The light man for Tantrum was Eric Ernst, and the sound man was Brian Chubb. And so I went to a lot of Bob Seger shows besides opening for him, but Tantrum, good band.
Around 1977, you start working with the manager, Bruce Lorfell, and that's kind of when the look came together. And you started recording the demo in his studio, which is, right next door pretty much to here in Southfield, Michigan. And during those demo sessions, one of my favorite artists, Marshall Crenshaw, I just saw him at the Arc in Ann Arbor, was working the soundboard. I find that awesome. I think that's great. Tell me about your memories of those sessions and recording that demo.
Well, you mentioned Bruce Lorfell. He had a studio in Southfield called Good Vibrations. But that summer, I was kicked out of the band Tantrum. And I joined another band about 6 months later called The Look. But I had met Bruce. The Oakland Press had a talent contest at Pine Knob, and it was hosted by Dick Purton, and I entered that, and I came in fourth. But in the audience was Bruce Lorfell. That's how I met Bruce. And then he had a studio with Scott and Denny Forbes. Scott's son, Sean Forbes, is a big rapper, a sign rapper. Anyways, but they used to do commercials at Good Vibration Studio, and also I actually did a couple commercials there. One was for Lazy Boy chairs, Father's Day one. But anyways, we met this guy named Marshall Crenshaw, who I think he was in a band called Astagaffa first, and then he was running the board, and Randy and I did a demo with Marshall, which I'm going to put back up on my website because I had it up there for a while. I asked Marshall if we could release it. It's called Live Till You Die, and it was written by a guy named Emmett Rhodes. A lot of you folks out there might know who he is, but yeah, that was the start of our demos. We used to do a lot. He had an 8-track studio, and they used to do a lot of the demos for The Look. We would demo them, and then we would go in the bigger studio and do them.